What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. How's it going? Hope everyone's enjoying the holiday season and all that good stuff. Um, Couple of things. One, some of you may notice if you follow me on Instagram, I had a chance to finally go on Sledgehammer Horror's channel. So I got a chance to hang out with Ken. Ashley was working, unfortunately, but shout out to the two of them for having me on for their segment, My First Horror Movie. So got a chance to talk to Ken about that. And we also got into some other movies and also just different things like, the way people watch movies throughout the year, whether you're a casual horror fan or a 365er, as I call it. So it was an opportunity for me to talk horror with them. So really, really fun. And you could check that out over on Sledgehammer Horror. Go over there on their YouTube channel. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to them because they're good people and they know their stuff. Tonight, our guest that is joining us is none other than I was trying to remember today to remember the first time I saw him, and I think it was during um, Tim Talks Talkies when he did his top 25, the first one, not the recent one for the 80s, but when he did his first one. And I believe our guest was a part of that one. If not, it was the one previous to this one. But been following for a few months, did a couple live streams with him. I was supposed to do one last night. Shout out to Mega Mike and everyone else who was on the live stream for the post Criterion sale wrap up. Sorry I missed it. Had some other responsibilities to cover, but it was fun every time we hung out. So I was like, oh, we definitely have to have a conversation. So tonight we have Steve from Excelsior Movie Reviews. How's it going, sir?
Hey, KB, how you doing? Yeah, great to
Good,
be here
man.
tonight.
Good. Happy to have you on, and definitely looking forward to this. This should be fun.
Yes.
Want to see one thing here. We have some people joining us. We're going to hop right into them, so then we could hop right into our questions for you. So starting off, we have Adrian James saying, hey to you. We had Corey from Wilkie's Movies and Music pop in earlier. He couldn't stay, but definitely want to say shout out. Check out his YouTube channel. He's getting it popping now, and he was a guest recently on my channel. So that was good to interact with him and kind of encourage him to get things going. So you're going to start to see the movie club pop up as he gets that little nudge from me. So it's good. It's good. We got Holland Oates in here saying, hey. People saying hi to each other. We got Tiana. How's it going, dear? We got Mama Blu-ray in the house. What's shaking with you, Bonnie? Let's see. We got Jeff K saying good evening. Good evening to you, sir. We got Tony P in the house. Always fun to see him and the Steelbook crew with their videos on Tuesdays when they go out for their Blu-ray hauls. Durant's always going to be Durant, but Tony's like the comic relief, but in a straight guy way. So I love seeing him and Mizzy and Andrew. Shout out to Andrew. It's always good to see those guys together. We got Mika in the house saying hey to everyone. How's it going, dear? We got Michael saying hi to everyone. We got Sardis. Hello to you. A couple of people saying hi to each other. Don't want to miss anybody. Yes, Indiana representing.
Right.
Yes. We were just talking about the whole thing with time zones and daylight savings. And I remember when I was younger, there were certain parts you would drive through and then you would get to we got to this one town near Terre Haute, and it was like we walked into the diner and they had the different clocks on the wall to let you know, well, if you're in this county, it's this time. But if you're in this county, it's that time.
True.
And it was like, oh no, here we don't change the time at all. And I was like, what? That's so weird. Now it's statewide. So what are you gonna do? We got John Doe Juggalo. Good evening to everyone in chat, he says. What's up with you? Can't wait to have you on soon enough. We got Latulo Moore saying hello. Hello to you. Lloyd House Flicks in the house. What's up, Big Chris? Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Bonnie used to live
Okay.
in Paraiso.
I didn't know that. Yeah. It's interesting.
Nice. We got Sarah in the house. Hello. Saying it's me. I see you. How's it going? Thanks for joining us. Also saying what's up to everyone. Yeah, we got Ben in the house. Been enjoying streaming with Steve as of late. I have to go back and watch a replay from last night because it sounds, just from the chat, it sounds like you guys had a really great time.
Yep.
Let's see who else joining us. Everyone's saying hey to each other. That's where Mama Blu-ray was born.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, and everybody else doing their little check-ins. So the way we like to do this is we always like to start with a non-movie question or two.
Oh.
I'm going to extend it a little bit for your benefit because I have multiple non-movie questions, but it might be movie related. Depends on your answers. So first one I'm going to do is I'm going to throw back up the names, and usually when you see exclamation mark after the word Excelsior, you think of one person and one person in particular.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to know, just non-movie question, but sort of movie related if it's true. The name, is it anything to do with the late great Mr. Stan Lee?
Oh, absolutely. That's my tribute to Stan Lee.
I love
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's his catchphrase for years. Excelsior. Yeah, he did that. It's great because he's from New York. That's the state motto, basically, right? For New York. And so, yeah, I love that. It's such a positive term that just kind of gets people excited. That's what, and Stan Lee did it. So Stan Lee was a legend. So yeah, I had to do a tribute to him.
Yep. When I first saw it, and because I was just like Steve, and then I was like, wait a minute, and I went back and I watched your first top 25, and I was like, Excelsior movie reviews? You mean like Stan Lee? Because I was a comic book kid, when I was younger, and especially Marvel, make mine Marvel. That was his other catchphrase.
Right.
And if he was writing, he'd always put things like, stay tuned, true believers, and
Yes.
then he'd sign off with Excelsior, and I was like, that's dope. That's like his catchphrase. And if you know, and apparently so
Absolutely.
that's a beautiful thing. So a tribute to him. Were you also a comic book kid, or just?
Oh yeah, I mean, more like the movies. I mean, certainly the Marvel movies in the '90s, late '90s. Blade. But that wasn't the first Marvel movie. And some people say it was some other movies in like the late '80s, but for me, Blade was kind of the beginning, even though it wasn't part of the MCU. It was the first Iron Man was the first one, basically. It was part of the MCU, but there are other Marvel movies before that. But Blade was kind of the beginning of Marvel being on the big screen, at the time. And then I love the first two Blade movies. The third one, Trinity, is not as great, but the cast was weird in that movie. The casting that they had in that one was kind of odd, but
Yeah.
But I love the first two, though. Del Toro did the first, Blade 2, just really more of a horror movie, really dark, a lot of vampires and stuff like that. And it's a great addition to that.
Yeah, Guillermo definitely turned the movie darker, which you would think it's a vampire movie. It should be darker, but yeah, he definitely put his touch on that movie.
Right.
Vin says Excelsior makes him think of Al Gore and South Park.
That's a good one too.
Nice. Kind of turning towards the movies, but not quite there yet, as more people are checking in. Let me go back and catch a few people. Michael, did you go to the theater recently? As recently as last night, I went to a early screening of The Color Purple, which comes out on Christmas Day. That's part of the reason why I couldn't make the stream over on Mega Mike's channel. I had to cover that. And we got Mark, who has a great new video out. I actually promoted over on Instagram about the movie A Christmas Horror Story. Great anthology movie, great for the holidays. Has some Krampus stuff in there too. So if you're okay with spoilers, I would say go check it out because it's a great video. Great job, sir. We got some other people checking in, and I keep skipping over them. I gotta go back up. We have Professor Strangefinger.
Yeah.
Hello. Mom Blu-ray telling everybody hit the likes. Thank you, Bonnie. Appreciate that. I know I passed somebody. Forgive me if I did. I'm just like scrolling up and down, up and down. The Punisher was before Blade.
Yep. That's the one I was going to mention. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
Punisher. It's like, oh, I don't want to mention it, but I don't want to mess it up. But yeah, the Punisher was.
Yeah.
Technically
I mean, there's Marvel associated movies going back to like the 60s and 70s. There's a weird Doctor Strange one out there. There's a Fantastic Four movie.
Wow.
Of course, you know, Spider-Man was on the Electric Company in the 60s and 70s, besides the animated series from the 60s. So there's a whole bunch of different references for sure. But for a lot of people, I think in respect to like what we now regard as MCU, that, you know, Blade is like a launch point for a lot of people. So I see your point there.
Yep.
We got Tiger Blue saying hi, hi, and hi. Yep. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing the new Color Purple movie. The original was one of our favorites. Yeah, I wanted to rewatch it before I saw it, and I'm kind of glad I didn't get a chance because there were enough references that I remember from the Spielberg one that I was saying the line before they sit it on the screen. And I'm like, okay, so they're staying true, but it's really weird to take a book, make it into a movie, and then make it into a Broadway musical, then make a movie of the Broadway musical, which is essentially what they did.
Wow.
And yeah, but yeah, it was solid. It was solid for sure. I can't give a full review, trade embargoes or review embargoes. So yeah. That's all I got to say about it, Michael. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, another one. Howard the Duck, another reference. Yes. Yeah, that'd be nice. Bonnie, all I keep saying is I don't want people to subscribe. I want people who will come back. I don't want to just hit numbers. I want to increase followers. That's more important to me. But thank you. Thank you for sure. So I was doing a little research. I always like to research so I could have original questions for my guests. And to everyone in the chat, once again, thank you for being here. And if you have any questions for Steve, please pop them in the chat. Try to keep it movie related, please. But yeah, add on. This conversation is not only between the two of us, but you're also a part of it too. So definitely jump in if you have some movie questions for him. But just going back and looking at your YouTube site, it looks like you've been doing it for about 2 years or so, roughly.
Yeah. I think it'll be 3 years technically. I started putting content in April. I think April of 2024 will be So it's a little over 2 years, but it's been rough. It's up and down. It's been nice. I love talking to people. That's my favorite part, and meeting people in the community too. It's like those are and people that love movies, just to talk movies to people and do live streams. It's like that's the best part of it. I don't make any money off YouTube, but everything else is there's perks and people that love movies. It's you find your group, and friends. I love that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Have you done any meetups yet?
No. Well, I met Ken and Ashley Sledge, and it was actually it's near Cincinnati in Sharonville, Ohio. I went to the Horror Hound there like last year, and it was for the screen panel. They had Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich and Jamie Kennedy and Nev Campbell were all there, and I got to meet Jamie Kennedy. The other three lines are way too long, but I could see them. I took random pictures, because you're not supposed to take photos of people, but I couldn't get in their lines. I mean, Matthew Lillard's line was completely packed, and they cut it off. They said we can't not allow anybody else to get in this line. So Jamie Kennedy was the shortest line, and he's a good guy. I like Jamie Kennedy a lot. So and I got a photo with him and a poster signed by him. So that was fun. Just seeing the other three from a close distance was great. So and that's the main part, and it's had a huge crowd. It's like that crowd probably should have been in Cincinnati. It should have been downtown, like a convention center. This convention center was way too small. In the parking lot, like you couldn't find a place to park in the parking lot. It was overpacked.
Yeah,
So
sometimes they do a bad job at like estimating what the crowds will be, especially, big cities, they have convention centers, all that. But usually once you get to smaller markets or, even towns within certain states that they don't expect a lot of people to come up, people travel to these cons
they
now.
do.
So it's like, especially if it's easier to get to a smaller con to meet someone versus like a big one. Like if I wanted to meet Robert Englund, let's say,
Yeah.
I'm not looking for like a Monster Con or a Comic Con or something like that. I'm going to like small market areas where I could easily fly to, and you anticipate the lines will be shorter than, waiting 4+ hours for,
Yeah.
well, I won't say 5 minutes of Robert Englund's time because I heard he's quite loquacious and likes to chat. So,
Okay. Yeah.
but that time that you would get with the person and signatures, photos, all that stuff, if you're into that.
So much fun. Yeah. So much fun to see your heroes in person, or even if you don't get to meet them, just to see them there, just to
Yeah.
stand
Yeah.
that close to them and like just to see how nice they are to people and how they interact with fans. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Barbara Eden. That was nice to be in the same space as her because,
Yeah.
Jeannie and all. Michael does have a question related to cons. He wants to know, he's big into autographs and meeting people, so he wants to know if you have autographs, like from
Oh,
going to
do I
cons
have
or
autographs? Yeah. Well, I mean, Jamie Kennedy, he named that with the 3 rules on it, and it's a photo
Nice.
with he and Matthew Lillard. It's from
Mhm.
Scream, and I've never gotten to meet Matthew Lillard. Like I think he didn't come here at Horror Hound that year. The panel didn't come to Indianapolis. That's
Mhm.
where I am in Indianapolis, but we have Horror Hound here like once a year, and it's usually downtown at our large convention center downtown. So I never got a chance to meet him, and his line was too long, and I got there too late in the day, but he's a cool guy though. I wish I could have gotten his autograph. I don't know if I ever get that side of the poster signed,
Yeah.
but it's great. Jamie Kennedy was fun though.
Keep it handy. You never know
Oh yeah,
because the way people are hitting up cons now, especially post pandemic, a lot more people are going out and doing cons, and there's a lot of reunions where people come back together, whether it's like a 90s con or specifically like movie cons. So
yeah,
it'd be good. You never know when he might pop up again in Indy or somewhere around there. So you could definitely get it done. I would love to go to cons, but I never know if it's equipped for wheelchairs. True,
right.
true. You would think like the larger ones, it's kind of a given because if it's like in a hotel or a convention center, by OSHA laws, they have to be. But you never know.
It's a lot of walking.
Can't risk that for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, it's a lot of
Um,
walking. So you do kind of need to sit down if you can't
yeah,
walk long distances. You probably do need to sit down because it's a lot of standing on your feet all day, and it's I can do it, but it's
it's
I
not for
run
everyone.
I walk all the time, so I'm kind of used to being on my feet a lot, and I sit most of the day at work. So it's like I love to get
Mhm.
up and move.
Yeah. There was a question before here saying,
Oh,
we know that you like Criterion, but are there other boutique labels that you dig?
there are like Screen Factory. I love those. I've kind of got into Arrow Video and Kino Lorber. I like those. So those are probably the main ones. Some of the was Umbrella, whatever. I think I had like one from that, and some of those are overseas ones that are region free. I've got some of those, but I think Shout Factory, Screen Factory are probably and also Shout Select. They have a good brand too. Like get a lot of great movies. I mean, Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny is going to be out in
Yeah,
February for
that should be
Shout
fun.
Select.
Looking
Yeah,
forward to that one.
yeah.
We got Laren in the house. Hey, my friend, how's it going? Mark asks, what is one movie you want more people to see? Good question.
Oh, wow. Well, Pick of Destiny is one I got to see. I got to see Tenacious D back in September for the first time ever, and they don't come to Indianapolis very often.
Hmm.
And it was great. I know all their main songs, and they were fun. And I used to follow Tenacious D back in the late '90s when they were on HBO. If you remember the TV show Mr. Show,
Yeah.
which had Bob Odenkirk and David Cross were on that show, and they were big fans, friends with the guys from Tenacious D, Jack Black, and Kyle Gass, and I think that they even gave up maybe 10 minutes of their show so that Tenacious D could have their little, short kind of show, and that's how I learned about them. And I've been a
Oh,
fan of
wow.
Jack Black for a long time. Cable
Yeah.
Guy. He's in Cable Guy. Remember that his character in Cable Guy, Jim Carrey dunks on him. He climbs his back and then breaks the backboard. That's a Jack Black that was like their character. So I know him well.
Talking about music, I was mentioning before with your website in the beginning, there were a lot of videos of you, like shorts of sorts,
Yeah.
shorts of sorts, with you playing your guitar and so forth. Two questions on that, and you could just talk from one right into the other.
Okay.
So, how long have you been playing guitar? And then when did you feel like you made the official transition from just having music to incorporating movies and then finally just movie reviews?
I've been playing. I really play bass more than anything. I've been playing bass since I was 15. Not a professional or anything. It's just for fun. Guitar probably since I think in my late 20s. I started kind of playing that just a little bit, and but music's kind of runs in my family. A lot of people. I have a lot of musicians in my family. Cable Guy is good and so good. Yeah, I love that movie. And but as far as my channel, I just kind of fiddled around a little bit in the beginning. It's like on YouTube, you kind of have to pick your lane a little bit. You can't really do music and movies together a lot of times. Some people get away with that, especially the older your channel is. If you had this kind of built-in audience that's been there, since the beginning of YouTube, they'll watch anything you do. But I found you have to pick something. And I actually have a music channel as well called Excelsior Music Reviews that I don't get to do a lot with, because the movie channel takes up a lot of my time, and it's hard to come up with topics and to interact with all the fans on both channels. It's hard to do that. But whenever I have an idea with music, I'll do that. But and back then, I wasn't aware of like YouTube Shorts. Like that's why I put it on that channel. If I had known about YouTube Shorts, I would have just put it on the Shorts.
Right.
Part
It
of it.
wasn't even that big. I think it
Yeah.
really started to explode last year.
Right.
But
Right.
before that, it existed, but it wasn't like the algorithm didn't promote it. That's the way I'll put it. So there was no real way to know, like, ooh, maybe I should put this here and,
Right.
get kind of catch on to that audience, because just like there's people who only do TikTok, there's people on YouTube that only do shorts.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
just a matter of what you want to appeal to. So that'd be a nice way to kind of cover both bases for sure.
Yeah, somebody was asking me where I do my movie reviews. I've actually started doing that on YouTube Shorts, just out of theater reactions, because
Hmm.
I've noticed that unless it's a really big movie, most people don't care about what you think. Well, and I've gotten to the point now where people, even if they say it's a spoiler-free review, they still give things away, especially if you're an experienced moviegoer and you've seen like trailers, and it kind of gets spoiled for you. But by the time you see the movie, it's like it's all been kind of spoiled at that point.
Yeah.
So I feel like giving like a 1 minute or just under 1 minute kind of reaction to the movie when I get out of theater is a way to do it. I know Mike does that a lot, and I think it works that
Yeah.
way, because people aren't going to watch a 5 minute video and you spoil things for them. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't watch movies as much in the theater as they used to. They
True.
wait till it comes out on video. So I don't want to spoil it for people, and I just want to give my reaction. Say I liked it, not liked it, maybe get a star rating, actors I liked in it. Just give my
Mhm.
reaction to it. Just something. And it's not for every movie. Godzilla -1. I did one on Saturday for that, and I really like that movie. So really
Yeah, I gotta see
recommend people
that.
check that one out. So
Yeah, I noticed that it's like if I do like the same type of thing, I do a short out of theater review, um, I'll get that initial, boost of likes, views, whatever. And then when it comes out on streaming or home media, there's like another little uptick.
okay,
So it's really interesting to see that. But yeah, unless it's something like major, or in a situation like me, like we didn't do one last night, but
Mhm.
if I was to do out of theater review, whether it was a regular YouTube video or a short, and it's not coming out till Christmas Day, so I'm
Yeah.
talking like 20 days early,
Wow.
I would have got a lot of hits, a lot of likes, a lot of
Yeah.
views. But, there's an embargo right now, so I gotta chill. But as
Mhm.
soon as they lift it, I could do a little, this is what I thought of the movie and put it out there. And yeah, it'll probably get views, but I'd rather people come back than just watch. So
Yeah. I really like the movie The Holdovers as well, the Paul
yeah,
Giamatti movie. I
hearing
love
good
that
things
movie.
about that.
Yeah, I really liked it, and there's a return to form from Alexander Payne too, if you know his last
Yeah.
movie before that, it didn't
It's
go
it's
so
been a
well.
while since he had a good one.
Yeah. I love Sideways, Election's pretty good too on the Criterion Collection, it's
Yeah.
not a bad one. Descendants is not bad, kind
Yeah.
of kind of depressing in some ways, but
A little bit too
I actually,
depressing to be like, "Oh, this is a great movie."
yeah, yeah. I actually
There's that
repurchased, Nebraska.
balance.
Yeah, Nebraska, I actually had that on Blu-ray before, I actually got rid of it at one time, and
Mhm.
after I saw The Holdovers, I thought, "I need to get Nebraska again," 'cause, like, Bob Odenkirk, he's in that movie, and it's before he was
Yeah,
really, really famous, before Breaking
yeah.
Bad, or right around time Breaking Bad was out,
Mhm.
and Better Call Saul made him a legend, you know? He got a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame because of people, and he's been around forever, but
That's
Odenkirk
what I
was a
tell people. I was like, "You don't know character actors." I mean, if you know character actors, you know Bob Odenkirk because
mhm.
he's been in movies that you remember his scenes.
You're
So,
right.
it's like you may not remember everything about the movie or you may not have liked everything about the movie, but when he was on the screen,
Yeah.
you like that part of the movie. So,
Yeah, I've shown
crazy.
people Wayne's World 2, he plays this kinda nerdy character, a brief
Mhm.
cameo in that movie. It's like, I was telling people if they knew him from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, like, that's Bob
Yeah.
Odenkirk, and he used to be on the Ben Stiller show, and he was a writer in SNL, all that stuff
Same
too.
thing with, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah,
People know him from Breaking Bad, but I know him as Bugging Out and Do the Right Thing.
that's right. Yes.
89,
Uh-huh.
so he's not new to this.
Right.
What's up, Jared? Good to see you, man.
So do the right thing, yeah. Do the right thing. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
There you go.
Talking
Yeah.
about criterions, you're just giving me all these beautiful, like, transitions,
Yeah.
Um, someone mentioned it before. This is not one of the 5 questions or whatever, but do you have, like, criterion titles that, like, people like, "Hey, I'm just looking at sales coming up," like, we
Mhm.
just had the sale finish, on Monday past. Are there certain, like, staples or certain titles that you just automatically like, recommend to people?
Oh yeah, I mean, you like to give at least people that are new to the collection. You like to give them some titles that are more common, a little bit more common that they'll really love. Because I recommend people do that when
Mhm.
they start out, to get movies they love. They want rewatchable, even movies that they've seen before.
Yeah.
Get them on the higher resolution, better special features, movies that you really love, and then kind of build from that. If you want to start taking chances on blind buys, I do a lot of blind buying now. When I first started out, it was a lot of stuff I knew. There
Yeah.
was like a year where I just upgraded all my DVDs that were on Criterion,
Oh,
except
wow.
for, and then we talk about these. I talk about these all the time. The
Yeah.
Criterion's that
Yeah.
have never been released on Blu-ray.
There's a few of them I got too. It's like, um, of course, the 2 John Woo movies,
Hmm.
Hard Boiled, The Killer, Chasing Amy is definitely in there. Third Man, because I've never been fortunate to find the Blu-ray, so
Wow.
there are ones that definitely I would love to see get a 4K. I would love to see all those that I just mentioned get a 4K. That would be awesome.
Right. Very,
People are
very
talking
limited time
about
too.
different movies in the chat here. They're talking about The Holdovers. They're talking about
Yeah.
Godzilla minus one. It's kind of nice, after the screenwriters strike and the actors strike, not
Mhm.
only for them to be over and to kind of err on the side of the creatives, but also to see great movies start to come out. I mean, it is
Yeah.
kind of like the award season right now, so you're going to get stronger movies compared to, like, your summer blockbusters or something from February that came and went, or a weak
Yeah.
Disney movie that came out this year. But it's nice to see like solid movies coming out and surprises too. I think Godzilla -1 is a surprise. I
Mhm.
think The Holdovers is a surprise because that was supposed to be just like a little indie movie, like at the level of Nebraska, but it's getting the same kind of attention,
Mhm.
and you could see it possibly getting the same type of award season attention that Nebraska did when it came around.
Right. Yeah. Dune Part 2 is released scheduled to be released on March 1st, 2024. So I'm
Yeah,
excited about that. I was expecting that to be out this year too. So
yeah,
it's one of those
that
delayed
was
movies.
definitely one that got pushed back. Let's see, Poor Things, that should be coming out
Mhm.
this week, I believe. So yeah, I saw the trailer for it, and I watched the actors on actors with Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo plays the love interest in it.
Yeah.
So
Emma,
strange movie, but I like that. I like the quirky and the, you know,
Emma Stone.
eclectic.
The titles in that movie look just like a Spike Jonze movie. When I saw it,
Yeah,
I thought, "Is this Spike Jonze?" And
it
it's not
gave
Spike
that
Jonze.
vibe. It gave that
The guy had to
vibe
have
for
been
sure.
inspired by Spike Jonze because it's got the same kind of titles. It looks like a Spike Jonze movie. It's
Mhm.
the guy must be a big fan of him. Yeah, I love that trailer for that movie too. That Emma Stone, she's great. Looks great in that movie. Then, and yeah, Mark Ruffalo.
So just going back to the question, and I think it's reinforced here. I've taken your advice, all my
Yeah.
criterion so far as movies I know I like. I have one blind suggestion coming my way. So what are, besides like the DVDs that didn't make it past, maybe even Blu-ray, what are some titles that you recommend to people?
Oh, well, I just happen to have them over here, right there. The ones I talked about last night. Well, I mean, people that like older movies, just the In-Laws.
So
You know,
funny.
yeah, Peter Falk.
Especially the ending of that movie is so
Yeah,
fun.
my mom and dad quoted this movie for years, and like I knew a lot of stuff that was coming.
Yeah.
Alan Arkin's really great, and then he's really great. He's recently just watched Argo this past
Mm.
weekend, and he's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
great in the movie. And he won, I think he won an Oscar for that role. I think, and he was Little Miss Sunshine. No, he won for Little Miss Sunshine, I think, or he wasn't nominated for it, but he's great
Yeah.
in that movie too. But some you know Mean Streets. I got Mean Streets. Yeah,
Nice.
this
Nice.
to me, I we were talking about last night. This is kind of a grower Martin Scorsese movie. It's kind
Mhm.
of something that I liked it the first time I saw it, but it's grown on me every time I watch it.
Oh,
And
for sure.
people
Character
are
development.
oh yeah, and
Yeah.
people are complaining about the 4K, how they didn't clean it up to make it look all new. So maybe
You
the
can't
Blu-ray
do
would have been
that.
a good option for a lot of people, but
I really think people need to understand that it's kinda like when you're dealing with film, people always talk about the original camera negative, but if you have the most pristine original camera negative, but it was shot a certain way,
mhm,
like, certain special effects from different eras, you can't make it look like a CGI movie today.
right,
And, you know, if you remove all that grain from a movie like Mean Streets, then
mhm,
you're gonna get people complaining about it the way we complain about the Terminator 2 4K.
right,
So you gotta have that balance, and grain is good.
yeah.
Grain means film,
It
and
doesn't
these are
bother me.
films.
It doesn't bother me that much. So
No, this is
um,
not a digital recording.
yeah,
What
I
else
saw
you
this
got?
for the first time recently. It's pretty good. Don Cheadle's really
Yeah,
great in this. Don
Don
Cheadle,
Cheadle is so good in that.
of course. Well, I was going to leave this in my stack to talk about not about my top five, but the Fisher King. I always like Terry Gilliam's The Fisher King.
Yeah.
I think this one's probably the most widely accepted kind of movie from him, even though it's got some strange stuff in
It's
it.
still eclectic.
Yeah,
It's still
I've always loved it. I loved it before I had it on DVD before I got it on Criterion, and well, this is on 4K also. This is a Blu-ray edition, but you get it
yeah,
on 4K as
you can't
well. So
tell.
I think Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges. I think you can't go wrong. Mercedes Rule.
Mhm.
There's there's a scene. I'm
That's
not going
so
to
true.
spoil it, but a scene near the end of the movie that with Mercedes Rule and Jeff Bridges that it's priceless. It's just that whole thing
Yeah.
in the
Don't
video
say
store.
more, don't say
Yeah,
more.
yeah, really good though. Yeah.
Couple other things here. Comments. Sarda says we all end up blind buying after a while as part of exploring film. It's true. Every time you go to a theater to see a new film, you're blind buying in a sense. You're buying into that experience in the theater. Going back to Odenkirk, he was superb in Nobody. Yes,
Yeah, that's right.
I still got this to crack open and get into.
Yeah,
it's a UK version of it, so it's pretty dope.
I
But
saw it in
yeah,
the theater.
I
Yeah,
love that movie.
did he have a heart attack shortly after that? I think he did a lot of action in that movie. Like he's always been in great shape, but he's getting up there now. It's like you can't move like that anymore.
No, yeah, I love getting new movie recommendations, especially from people that you can trust. Like John Doe Juggalo mentioned Steve. I'll throw out Stephanie from Movie
Yeah.
Chatter.
Yeah,
There has never been a recommendation that she's given me privately or stated publicly that I was like, that one wasn't hitting. Like
right.
I know certain ones I'm not gonna like. So if she tries to get me with a Rob Zombie movie, I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be like, pump the
yeah,
brakes.
yeah.
You could love it. It's just not
Right.
for me.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's certain people that you could just rely on their recommendations all the time. So it's nice that people see you as one of those people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember Get a Life. That was funny.
Hey James. Yeah.
Short-lived, but funny.
Mhm.
Recently watched The In-Laws, Blind Buy, No Regrets. Yeah, it's a good one. It's
Mhm.
a good one. Okay, we picked up a few Criterions last month. May do a video pickups. Yeah, definitely. I would love to see what you ladies got. That'd be cool. Have to check out Mean Streets. Heard a lot of good things. Yeah, I put it on my shelf because I'm doing a month of holiday themed movies and Uncle Barty movies. So
Wow.
by the end of the month, I'll definitely get into Mean Streets. I've seen it dozens of times. I have the Blu-ray, but I want to check out the 4K since I got it. Yeah, Fish King is fantastic. Very true. Jim Powers in the house. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's see. We got James in the house, 20th and 21st, talking about Criterions. It's like the other night we were making jokes because Corey had mentioned Dunkirk, and all of a sudden Tim Talks Talkies popped in. So we mentioned Criterion, and James pops in.
That's funny.
Imagine that.
What?
Yeah, but he is mentioning a non-Criterion movie, saying that Odenkirk and Nobody was awesome.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, Stephanie is great. Wealth of knowledge when it comes to film. Yeah, horror and more.
Yeah. You mentioned this movie, Tim will pop in.
Talk about Tim Talks Talkies.
Somebody say summertime? Yeah.
Yeah. Summertime? Tim's gonna show up now. Wrote down some movie chatter recommendations. We'll be checking some of them out soon. Yeah, she's solid for her recommendations. Fisher King, favorite Gilliam movie. That 4K is great. I still have a problem trying to figure out what my favorite Gilliam movie is because I don't see them as like a filmography of sort.
Yeah.
I see them as like individual like bashes of madness from this crazy creator.
Yeah.
So, Time Bandits is different than Brazil, is different than Fisher King. So I can't really say, okay, this is how I rank Gilliam films. Where am I putting 12 Monkeys? So
12 Monkeys,
it's like I can't do it.
Probably
I can't
fourth.
do it.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's probably fourth for me. I did a ranking of Terry Gilliam. It's done really well. The video just keeps giving back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I didn't put well, I don't want to mention the movie. I'll mention it later because it's actually in my stack, and I'll mention it later. But there's a movie that he co-directed that he actually directed. We'll talk about
it. Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll do one more question before we get into the 5 takes. Since you've been a guest on a lot of live streams, here's my accountability question. Do you see yourself starting up with live streams on your channels besides like the code giveaways and stuff, like hosting and so forth?
I'd love to. On my music channel, I do Zoom meetings basically. Basically, because I like to add like album covers. I love to be able to edit the video, kind of cut out some mistakes, usually mistakes by myself. I like to cut those out and just kind of move it along better, cut out some of the dead air. So I do that with Zoom, so I can I can get the video and I can actually edit the video. But usually with live stream through a StreamYard is usually most common, and it's usually just live. You just go really
You can
live.
do pre-recorded on live streamed on
You can do
StreamYard
that.
too. But Zoom is how Sledgehammer Horror does it. So it's a good
So
format.
nothing wrong with Zoom. I like the picture quality. That's the one thing with this. If you want to get 1080p, you got to pay for it. And
True.
with Zoom, they only give you like 40 minutes. I've done that a lot where I've done a Zoom meeting and the video cuts out and you have to start the video up again and then splice it together. And I love editing movies. I love editing my videos. I do it way too much. It takes up a lot of my time, but I love doing it. I love editing. Love popping in stuff for people to watch on screen, and just I love doing all that. And I do it way too much. And if I didn't do that too much, I can just crank out videos all the time. Content is king on YouTube. I could just crank them out. But I love to spend my time on each video and really think about it and pour my heart and soul into it. That's what I love doing. But I probably shouldn't do it though. I should just get videos out and get it out there.
You do what works for you. You find a niche and you just go with it. Personally, if I went back to just doing videos, I would get more hits. But my problem is when I do a pre-recorded video, I find myself going for that perfection thing that doesn't exist. Whereas here, you can't do it. I mean,
it's just live.
It's nothing like live TV, baby. So, it is what it is. A snot booger falls out my nose. Hey, we're recording. It is what it is.
You should see some of when I give my digital codes away, how I just screw up. Like last week, I was like, "Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?"
Yeah.
I'm asking people, "Can they hear me?" And I'm like,
"Okay."
And I went in after the video and I cut out like the beginning of it and cut out another section. It's like I just look like I don't look professional at all here. Because I'm like, this was a new microphone and the second time I ever used it, and I thought, can you really hear me? Because I don't want to do this video. I'm waiting for it to pop up a live stream on my phone to make sure I'm on there, make sure I can hear myself, because I'm doing it by myself. I had some people in the chat kind of advise me, but it's like I don't know what's going on. I can do this whole video with no sound possibly, and
I've had that happen. I don't
want that to happen. So I thought I'll just cut out the stuff, and so people can actually watch the video and they're not like, what kind of idiot is this guy? Looks not professional.
Mark says, I have a Criterion order arriving tomorrow. Got Mildred Pierce.
Oh yeah.
Leave Her to Heaven. Last Picture Show. All great titles. In a Lonely Place. Great title.
Yep.
I've seen all 4. I own 3 of the 4. I don't have In a Lonely Place, and I have the Columbia Classics version of Last Picture Show. But Mildred Pierce, I have the Blu-ray. I didn't upgrade to the 4K, and Leave Her to Heaven. Melodrama on Criterion. I gotta get it. So yeah. Vin wanted us to discuss one more thing before we go to the 5 takes, so I'm going to bring that up. He said, I'd like to hear both your thoughts on why Hollywood can't seem to put out great comedies anymore. Not drama comedies or rom-coms, just great comedy films. Or if you even agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Another shout out I will give is to Movie AB Impulse, my man Nick over there. He put out a video today talking about 5 comedy films that can't be remade today, just because of political correctness.
Yep.
And I won't say what the titles are, but as soon as you hear them, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. Even though No Hard Feelings, I think this year showed that we can still make movies that are comedies and raunchy and make money. But I think it's too much of a roll of the dice for studios to not only are we going to turn a profit, which is their number one. Don't let anybody tell you any different. They don't care about the art anymore. Studios need to make money. It's a machine. But I will also say that it's the risk factor of, is it going to make money, and what's going to be the backlash? If they make something too edgy, like the 5 films Nick mentions in his videos today, what's going to be the backlash? It's not that everyone is too sensitive. It's that the sensitive people make the most noise.
Yeah,
The
that's true.
people who could just go and enjoy a raunchy comedy will just tell their friends about it. Oh, you got to see this. This is hilarious.
Hmm.
But they're not saying, hey, Warner Brothers, hey, Paramount, hey, whoever, make more movies like this. But on the other side of that coin, the people who are offended, squeaky wheel gets the oil. So they're going to be the ones raising hell, making the most noise.
Hmm.
And then once again, the bottom line is the dollar. So they're going to be like, okay, we can't make another comedy like that for the next X amount of years because those, that group over there or those people or that attack online did us in. But they don't think twice about, hey, let's do something stupid like put out our movies in theaters and on our streaming service same day to see if we make a
Yeah,
profit.
right.
That was idiotic for an entire year. And
Completely. Yeah.
I think they're still trying to recover from that. But
Hmm.
I think that's what it is. What do you think?
Yeah, Warner Brothers is definitely still trying to recover from that kind of move, which I hated. That I was still seeing the movies in the theater at the time. 'Cause
Good.
I work from home and I live alone, so like I have memberships to AMC and to Regal. So and then Regal shut down like October of 2020. So I
Mhm.
just went to basically that's why I still had the Regal membership, and I decided to get an AMC membership. I was still seeing movies every week, like even during the pandemic. I'm still going to see movies. And I love it, and it's like, and I know a lot of people were. I don't blame people for not going to the theater. That they were so fearful at the time. But
Yeah.
like this is my sanction. That's where I love to see movies on the big screen. And obviously, I like physical media too. But a lot of
Mhm.
times when I buy movies on physical media, it's because I've seen them in the theater the first time.
Right.
A lot of times, even though I do a lot of blind buying as well, especially with Criterion. But Criterion's about the only one I actually do blind buy with, just through recommendations. I'll do that, and I love like directors and actors, and if they're in a Criterion film, I'll definitely want to check them out. Especially even our art house movies that have big name Hollywood stars. I love that when they can do both. They love acting so much, so they'll do something for no money, and
Mhm.
sometimes it can be really great, like Sideways and
Yeah,
stuff like
that
that.
was a great comedy too, just to bring it back. So what do you think is the reason why they're not taking the chance on like straight up
Well,
comedies anymore?
I think now people, well, for one thing, a lot of people when they see a Hollywood movie, they think they're going to see a Marvel movie. They're going to they see a comic book
True,
based movie because that's
true.
what they make a lot of money off of. But yeah, for sure, I think they're definitely afraid to offend people. Even back in the 2000s, they were making just really raunchy movies, and
Yeah.
like a lot of great ones there. But yeah, I think that if people want to go see them, if they supported those movies and didn't wait for them to come out in streaming or wait for physical media, they
Mhm.
probably would make more. But same time, I don't blame people that have families and they don't want to. It's really expensive to go to the theater. I
True.
don't blame them for waiting for physical media. It's I love watching movies at home, so I don't blame them for that. But I love to see those movies for the first time in the theater.
Yeah.
Um, that's
And the
how I've always been.
experience of seeing it with an audience,
Yeah,
especially like opening night, Friday or a Saturday night, like that first weekend, because it's just like we talk about horror movies the same way. You get the energy and it's more of an
yeah,
experience than just watching a movie.
it's
But yeah,
experience.
I think it's all those reasons plus a lot more, but definitely those. And you're right, the early 2000s with the super bads and the old schools and all that stuff. I think that was the last time we saw like comedies like ruling the box office. Today,
Mhm,
if it's not a franchise or sequel or adaptation, and adaptations have always been popular, so
mhm,
I'm not poo-pooing on that in any way, but I I think it's like you see it in all walks. People want familiarity, and
yeah.
something that's a risk is almost like otherworldly. So there are people I know that won't watch a A24 film because it's original.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
like, there's a movie that just recently got released on 4K. I think back here, it's Oppenheimer.
yeah,
Oppenheimer, I know people that are watching it for the first time at home, and I said on my channel, like, Oppenheimer is a movie that need to be
you needed
seen
the big
on big
screen.
screen, and I've watched, Stephanie, Movie Chatter, and Dave, Cinema Dave. talked about how they weren't blown away by it as much watching it at home. I think Stephanie liked it more, and
Yeah.
it's like because you didn't see it that way. And for me, the experience I had from the theater, and now that I watch it at home, I've got that background remembering how great it was, the
Yeah.
sound, and I don't think it translates as well. Especially
True.
some of the scenes earlier with the explode, some of the scenes on screen
Hmm.
don't translate as well, but it's still a great movie. But to me, it was a different experience seeing in like IMAX or seeing in a AMC Dolby theater where the seats rattle and stuff. You get that whole experience, and to me, I still have that much fun watching it at home. But I think you needed to see it for the first time in the theater, and I think that movie's going to get re-released when Oscar
Yeah.
nominations
Oh,
get
for
released.
sure. For
I
sure.
recommend
Even if
people
it's
check
a
it out.
limited run.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think there's certain movies you can't replicate that big screen experience. I've learned because when Blu-rays were coming out, and I remember when Avatar came out, I think I bought it like 2, 3 times. And by the time bought it that last time was the 3D, because that was the thing that I loved about Avatar.
yeah,
Probably the only thing I loved about Avatar. The
right.
rest of it was
Me
just
too.
colonization, which I'm never for that type of storyline. But I wanted to feel that experience again that I had on the big screen watching it at home.
Yeah.
Couldn't duplicate it. Same thing with Gravity. I
All right,
couldn't
right.
duplicate it. So I'm not getting the Avatar and Avatar 2 4Ks because
I know
it's not
you.
the same at home.
I'm the same
Oppenheimer
way.
I'm going to get because the acting performances were excellent. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. And like, I've never owned Avatar or the new one or Gravity because I feel like I need to be in a movie theater with 3D glasses on, with great sound, surround sound, to experience those movies. And to me, the
mhm.
stories aren't extremely great with the Avatar movies. It's experience of the visual. It's seeing in 3D. It's like that's where you get it. And I don't have a 3D TV. I don't have a
Yeah,
player, so it's not going to be the same. And I didn't love those movies enough to really want to own them. But if you're a James Cameron fan, obviously, and I am as well. But you probably have to have it if you're a completist. You have to have it in your collection, which I
mhm.
understand for sure. But I've gotten less now that I've got more room for movies. I've gotten a little bit more into that, but for a long time I had, I'd buy everything in a franchise, even if I hated the
Yeah, I
movie.
can't do that anymore,
I don't either.
or I can't upgrade that anymore. I know
Yeah,
James, I have his comment about to come up here. I know he's the same way. There's certain ones that are gonna say on DVD or Blu-ray and never get to 4K in my collection.
right.
He says here he saw Oppenheimer in theater, so good. We'll get multiple Oscar noms. Oh, that's without even thinking.
Well,
Still need to pick up 4K. Me too. I wanted the Icon edition from Walmart, but it's sold out so quickly I couldn't even get out to the stores. Um,
right,
Jeff says studios seem to want big pictures. Hard to do with comedies. So true. A
right.
couple other comments. I saw my man Cody come in here. What's up, dude? What's up, everyone? Don't forget to roundhouse kick that like button. Thank you, sir. Salute to you. Um, just to land the plane on the comedy conversation,
Yeah,
Vin comes back and says, "Imagine Tropic Thunder coming out now.
no,
Miss the days of having comedy icons make great comedies. There are none left." It's true because that's not what sells. So you have a lot of comedians that are making dramas because, I mean, at least they'll make a drama or a dramedy, as you put it before. But
right.
straight up comedy movie, yeah, you're gonna get Will Ferrell in Force Majeure remake before you get him in another old school. And Michael asks, "What do you think makes a great movie?" And then he went ahead and answered his own question by saying,
Yeah,
"I think a great movie is when the story keeps you guessing, the film doesn't look age. Nothing wrong with an old movie." So,
right.
all right, my friend,
No,
are you ready for the 5 takes?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go through. These are the 5 questions I ask at the end of every conversation. So this is how we land the plane. We start off as we always do with number one. Name the film that made you fall in love with the movies.
Well,
I think I know.
yeah, Star Wars,
Yeah.
original Star Wars. I
Hold
love
up.
Star
Hold up.
Wars. Yeah, you'll see my top five where Star Wars lands. It's not where you think it would be, but it's a great one. Yeah, Star Wars.
These ornaments didn't make the tree this year, so
Oh yeah,
they made the bookshelf.
yeah. I love
Lord
those. Yeah,
Vader.
I've got that. Yeah, I've got a lot of those. Yeah.
So let's see. Star Wars was 77.
Yeah.
So you were like what, 4?
I was 4, but yeah, I got into it like around the
Re-releases.
early '80s. Right
Yeah.
around the time Empire Strikes, maybe right before Empire Strikes Back. I
Nice.
was 7 years old. I don't want to spoil it, but 7 years old when my mom took me to see that movie in 1980, Empire Strikes Back, and the big reveal at the end. Like I couldn't believe seeing older kids and adults all kind of talking for like a couple of minutes, hearing that the big announcement at the end of the movie. Like my mom was
Mhm.
freaked out. My mom loved those movies too. She
Yeah.
bought me all the toys when I was a kid. She, my dad was kind of a fan too, but my mom was definitely. She bought me all the toys when I was a kid, and there was one Christmas I came out to the living room and I had Star Wars toys everywhere. So that was my love. Definitely Star Wars. Definitely did it for me. And so this is a uncensored version, I guess, of Star Wars. It's not easy to get, but yeah, I love that. And also, I have the box set too. But
Yeah.
this box.
Let's see. Yeah, I got that Blu-ray box set as well.
Special edition too.
All right, number 2. Name 5 of your favorite films.
Well, so I got to put Star Wars back in here. So normally I cheat when I do this, but I decided not to cheat for this video because my number one's usually a big cheat. So I decided just to kind of keep it standard, but I will mention the cheat. But obviously, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, number 5 on my list. I'm a huge Monty Python fan. When I was talking about earlier with Terry Gilliam, he's listed as a co-director on this with Terry Jones. But how much did Terry Gilliam really? He's on screen a lot in this movie. He was also the cartoonist. If you remember Monty Python, if you watch the Flying Circus, he always did the cartoons in between each movie. So how much did he direct? Obviously, he went on. Jabberwocky was his first official solo act. But if you notice with Monty Python, Life of Brian, Terry Jones directed that movie. So it makes you wonder. Terry Jones is not in a lot of Holy Grail. You see, Terry Gilliam was the one that he's. They called him Patsy, and he had the coconuts, and he's doing the horses because they didn't have horses in the movie. He's doing the coconuts. He's on screen a lot. He does the Terry Gilliam does the scene with where he asks the 3 questions and on the bridge, whatever and that scene. So he's in the movie a lot. So I wonder how much he, as a co-director, how much did he actually direct in this movie? I think he directs the scenes that Terry Jones is on screen. I think that's when Gilliam is actually directing. So
Yeah.
to me, it's I didn't list this in my ranking for Terry Gilliam, but I said if I did put it in there, it would be number 1. It's my favorite Monty Python movie, and so Terry Gilliam, legend to me. He was the only American in that troupe. So yeah, number 5, I got this one. Number 4, I've got The Godfather, the original Godfather.
Nice.
I like Godfather 2 as well, but the original one is my favorite. Some people will say Godfather 2 is their favorite because of Robert De Niro, but the first one is with Marlon Brando. I think is my favorite of the Godfather trilogy. So yeah, definitely the first Godfather is number 4, and then on number 3, I had to put Jaws.
Yeah.
I love Jaws. Steven Spielberg, 1975, the first summer blockbuster. Star Wars came 2 years later. That topped the box office that Jaws made, and Spielberg and Lucas are huge, big time friends, and they've worked together with the Indiana Jones franchise. So the original Jaws is my favorite. Richard Dreyfuss, Robert Shaw, great cast in this movie. I love this one for sure. So number 2, I've got. This is where I mentioned earlier. The original Star Wars is number 2. Surprisingly, even though it's the first Star Wars movie I saw, love the original Star Wars for sure. Number 2 is very close to being number 1. Number 1 is Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
Because of the ending. But normally I do a cheat. Though. Usually when I say number 1, I'll say the Star Wars trilogy is my number 1. So it would be Return of the Jedi, but Return of the Jedi may not make my top 20.
Yeah, it kind of fell off.
Yeah, if it's by itself, but if I can do all 3 of them, I think later on when I mentioned the Lord of the Rings franchise, I always list those as a tie for whatever spot I've got it at. I have the Lord of the Rings trilogy in there because those movies are filmed back to back to back, and it all tells one story. And then the original Star Wars trilogy tells one story. But so if I had Star Wars, if I had the trilogy as number one, then I put the Fisher King at number five if it were that way. But I decided not to cheat tonight to do that. Just keep it just five films. It was Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back at 2 and 1. So that's how I've got it ranked though. Those are some of my favorites, and Holy Grail is one of my favorites. I've got it number 5. But yeah, those
Jerry. 5. What up?
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Everyone's favorite question is next.
So
name a popular or classic movie that everybody loves, but for some reason you don't particularly like it.
Well, this one is not necessarily the most popular movie. It's the most popular movie with people in the Criterion Collection community, popular with any many film directors and film school students will say that this director is their most influential director out there. This is actually the only film I've seen from this director, and I need to give this movie a rewatch in 2024 to see if it's kind of changed. But this is controversial. I know a lot of people will say this is one of their favorite movies, but it's 8.5 from Federico Fellini, and like I said, it's the only one I've seen from Fellini. Definitely, was it like 2 hours and 15 minutes? Around that time. It's a movie that I actually liked it more the second time I saw it with a commentary.
Yeah,
and a lot of people love the Fellini box set, so maybe it wasn't a great entry point into the Fellini filmography, which is basically his 8.5. I think he did basically 8 films before. So it's the one I need to rewatch. I don't know how people feel about it. I know that some people probably have never heard of 8.5. Possibly if you're not a big time movie fan, and a lot of people have within the Criterion Collection community, they usually have the box set. So maybe I need to watch some more Fellini. It's just the fact that it's in Italian, and I've gotten better at watching foreign films. I've gotten, like, I watched Godzilla -1. It's in subtitled. It's Japanese. I love Japanese. I've gotten the Kurosawa his movies recently. I own 3 of them now. Nice. So they're growing on me. But it's just this story is about it's a film director, and it's kind of going, and I could see 8.5 being as far as cinematography. I could definitely see where that influence is. I especially see some of the early scenes in the movie, the scene from above, that I can see that every Terry Gilliam and William Friedkin they all say 8.5 is in their top 10 favorite movies, and it's always film directors that always say Fellini is their favorite. So he's obviously
you see the inspiration for sure.
Yeah, and Spielberg said when he was younger he went to Europe, and he got to meet Fellini, and said that was a really big deal for him. So it's like maybe something I need to get more into, and then kind of see other films and come back to 8.5, and maybe it will hit me more. It was bored 8.5. There you go. Okay,
you're not alone.
Yeah, but when I watched the commentary, the English film historian there was explaining all the things I missed in the movie.
Yeah,
yeah. Maybe it was the Italian and the subtitles.
Movies about making movies are always touch and go, because you're going to miss things just because you may not be a film director or a film director of that time, or an Italian film director, as the case may be. James follows up with 2 of his recommendations. That's 2 of his favorite Fellini movies, Strada and Knights of Cambria.
Yeah.
Cambria. Yes. Lots of people recommend it, so I'll approach it with an open mind. Yeah.
I'd like to see La Strada. I've heard a lot of people talk about that one. So okay. He
helped me with my Italian. That's all.
Yeah, been like that one. So I need to check that one out. Maybe I will get more of an appreciation for Fellini, because it's definitely something I want to check out, and I want to understand why. What I missed. It was just such a long movie. I think it was on my phone a lot at the time. It was like, what's happening with this movie?
That's the thing. Foreign movies, you have to be ready to invest. You can't.
That's true.
Be doing something else, because one, you got to read.
Yeah,
you got to read for composition in most cases, unless you are familiar with that second language. But
yeah, I mean, that's what I like about
different cultures, different times. So there's a lot you can miss.
I've noticed that Japanese movies are the ones that are so visual, and the story kind of tells itself. It's amazing how that is. You're not watching every word in the subtitles. You can actually really enjoy watching the film. And I thought 8.5 had a lot of dialogue and lot of stuff going on. So, like I said, it might hit me one of these days. I might actually watch it again and say, "Wow, 8.5." Now I get it, because there have been movies that have been that way. Once I rewatched it 2-3 times, and then all of a sudden it just clicked. Like, okay, now I get it. Now I'm familiar with this movie, and I know the scenes that are coming. I know the story. I know where it's going to end. I know everything about it. So maybe it will grow on me again. So, but for now, that one wasn't like the movie. That's a movie that some people have never seen before. So they're like, 8.5. What's that? So I don't think I offended everyone there. That they're like 8.5. Maybe I should,
Nah, I think you're good.
Yeah.
Let's flip that.
Okay.
Number 4, let's name a critically hated movie that you love.
Here's one that I do love, and it only gets like a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's The Saint. Val
Good
Kilmer,
movie.
Elizabeth Shue. I love this movie.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, Roger Ebert said that he called it the Nutty Saint, because it was like the Nutty Professor, where Val Kilmer is kind of in disguise in some parts of it. I love this movie though. I love the Duran Duran song that comes at the closing credits. I think I love the whole vibe of this movie and what he's all about. And I've watched some of the Roger Moore. I'm a huge James Bond fan, so Roger Moore was the Saint on my TV show years ago, and he actually in the movie you hear a voiceover from Roger Moore. So like I love this movie. I don't understand why this is like after Batman Forever. Obviously, Val Kilmer was known for being Batman briefly. And I thought he's great action in this movie. I love the whole story with it and Russia, that whole vibe. Love it. So, The Saint.
Yep. The Disguises. Yes. Fish mentions that I said hi to you earlier. Hello, Fish. My favorite fish. Loves The Saint, loves The Disguises. Fun one for sure.
Yeah, I enjoy that movie.
And the chat is still talking about foreign films, foreign Criterion films. Laren adds in, Saint is a great movie as well. I just want to thank everyone once again in the chat for popping in. Everyone who's watching this live or on replay, thank you for doing so. I appreciate when you do. So whether you pop in and you're just watching it or you're participating in the chat, either way, we're always appreciative. So I would like to say thanks for joining us. If you like what you see, hit the like button. If you're coming back again and again, go ahead and hit subscribe, maybe even that bell to find out when we're going to be on again, usually on Wednesdays. I'm going to try to stick to the Wednesdays for a while. And then as we add more segments in the new year, hint, hint, wink, wink, maybe I'll go towards other days after that. But as we get ready to land this plane, we're going to end this with number 5 and ask the question, who would you like to see me have a conversation with on this channel?
Well, the one, I think we should get the legend, Daisuke Beppu on your channel.
You're not the first one to say that.
he's from Japan. He's from Japan, but he lived in the U.S. at one time when he went to university. And
he's back?
Yeah, he lives in Los Angeles now, and he speaks better English than most of us. His English is amazing. He loves Criterion. He's got you told me he has every title. And he owns every Laserdisc too on Criterion, and I've watched his channel, and I know he buys all the new titles on Criterion. But I watched it, and I couldn't quite tell if it was. He didn't go through every film. And a lot of them are on DVD as well, because he's been collecting for a long time, like me.
Yeah.
He's younger than me. I think he's in his late 40s, 46, 47.
Yeah.
He's great though.
You can tell. I'm going to need James, and I'm going to need Jeff from Films at Home, because they both had interactions with him to kind of put in a good word for me. And I would love to get Daisuke on here, because not only do I love his channel and his reviews and his dedication to the Criterion collection, but he just seems like such a sweet and endearing man. I would love to have a nice in-depth conversation with him for sure.
Always nice to me. Always takes the time to chat with me on Instagram, and so I'd love it. And he's trying to get in the Criterion Closet. If you watch that channel where they have celebrities going, and he's got like a petition where you can sign up. And I'd love to see him get to New York and get in the Criterion Closet.
Get inside the real closet. I mean, he built his own.
Yeah, it's like, why not?
I think that'd be awesome.
He's always supporting Criterion. He's always been the front runner, and and living in Japan, like, how can he get to all those movies? The shipping costs would cost forever. He gets a lot of his movies.
He probably
years.
has family here too.
Yeah.
So that's probably what's helping him out. James, put in a good word with Daisuke for me. I wanna have a conversation with him in 2024. Make it happen, man.
Wow. Love to see
Thank
that.
you. Thank you, everyone who's popping in and telling us great stream, great conversation. Please tell a friend, share it. Come back. Like I said, I'm looking at my schedule for next week. I don't have a thumbnail for it yet, but for next week, this guy right here
Uh-oh.
will be joining us. So come back next week and we will have a conversation with John Doe Juggalo. Also next week, I'm going to head over to Second Cousin David's channel, the 4K Lowdown, and I'm going to do an episode of High Five. Finally, been trying to get on there with him, so that should be fun with him and Rich. And then also next Wednesday, we have Christian from Planet CHH. So John Doe Juggalo on Monday, Planet CHH on Wednesday. Should be a fun time. I'm just going to finish up these chats here. Have a good day, Adrian. I know it's early over there in the UK. Thank you, James. I appreciate you. Props to KB getting through the entire stream with New York Giants and not fumbling up your words.
Yeah.
Allowing Steve to dominate the conversation. It's all about moderating. It's all about moderating. And I'm cold, and this is a nice winter hat. It's cold in my basement, so yes, that's why. Sometimes I might even put on like a triple fat goose to represent the planet. So people saying good night to each other. Great stream as always, KB and Steve. Thank you.
Oh, thank you,
sis. Thank you, Mika. Culture Trini in the house. Salute, my dude. Just landing a plane here, but please check out the replay. You know how we do. Yeah, gotta represent. So yeah, thank you everyone who checked this out. Steve, hang out a little bit after this. We'll just chat backstage a little bit. But for everyone else, we'll see you next week. Come back, and as I always say, go watch a movie. Have a good night,
everybody.